For those who don't know, this guy hits it very hard. Very hard. We're just going to start off with the basics today. All right. Okay, so 50-50, right? If you're standing straight up, 50% of your weight there, 50% here. Here's what I want you doing. Your hips right now are in line with that rod and your ankles without pushing your butt back. Straight over. Right from the hips, like literally put that club up against your belt line, and I want to see yourself like over it. It's going to feel like too sharp.
Am I straight knees or slightly flexed?
Dead straight knees right now.
Oh my God.
Dude, there you go. For such an athletic guy, you know? Here we go. From there, here's the key. Flex down, pushing the knees down into the balls of the feet without giving up the upper body tilt. That look that Rory has, that look that Adam Scott has I just showed you, they're right here. And they take the knees and they push them down into the balls of their feet without the hips sitting back.
Okay.
So what was happening to you is you were too tucked under with the hips. Starts off to where the lower part of your spine goes straight up and down, and then what you had to do is what? Tilt from here.
Yeah.
And that's the look right there. We're just trying to get you sharper. Over it, flex down. Now you can play golf more underneath you. Here's the key though. Your right knee is going to be more flexed. The knees are going to be more flexed because what we're going to work on today, as we talked about, is controlling the amount of turn with the lower body, okay, and not just sitting back here and completely extending that right leg.
Yeah.
Okay. For our viewer, Mason came to me. You know, we've been working together for a little while, and he's doing a really good job with his swing. A lot of stuff's been getting better, but there, notice his lower body is a lot of daylight between the legs at the top of the swing.
Yeah. With
a very straight right leg. And though we want to turn, we want our right pocket to move back as far as possible, the big key is we want to do that maintaining flex in our right knee. And that doesn't restrict the turn. It still allows you to make a deep turn. It just allows the turn to build to the top and work from the ball of the foot to the inside of the right foot into the heel.
And that's just opposed to like just flaring out.
Just flaring. I mean, what happens to so many people, and this is what happens to you, right? You get in here, your weight's already sitting back a little bit because your hip's behind your ankle, and this leg is already fully extended and your arms are right here. So then your arms spend all that time lifting to the top, and that's where you get the elbow up, and it's harder to sequence the swing. If we're here, you know, connection from the ground up is going to be built with making sure we have a good setup. Now, if I was running through this so you had understood where the percentages were of where the weight distribution is, tilting over, yeah, it's like 95% up here. I flex down, okay, now it's like 70-30. If I looked at the side view, that inch hip shift that happens with the hips dead square to the target really helps shift that pressure to the inside of the right and the flat of the left. Okay, depending upon the club, obviously that pressure is going to change only because the width of the stance changes. Wedges, narrower, inch hip bump, it's like 70-30. 7-iron, a little wider, inch hip bump, 60-40. Driver, oh, well now my upper body's being supported by more of the inside of my right leg. It's more 60-40. So that's just dependent upon the bump and the width of stance. That's easy to remember when you understand, you know, where's the pressure right and left. Always on the inside, but how much depends on the width of the stance and the club you have in your hand. Now, this one is a constant. This is always hip over ankle, 70-30, okay? Really feeling the ability to turn that pressure back in the heel. And it's real easy, just right here. Set position, pressure's here, turn, pressure's there. So yeah, right over. More from here, more from here. There you go, right there. And then flex straight down. There we are. There we go. See how sharp he gets with that upper body?
Yeah.
And the angle right here. A little bit, you can see how far his shoulders are past his toes. But I want you to create some space to play golf underneath you. It's really cool for the viewer to see too. The right pocket will finish and get to its deepest point when the hands and arms arrive at the top and the body's done turning right there, okay? And you can see that right knees remain flexed and the pocket's turned back pretty, you know, a good amount. We don't see daylight between the legs, right? And that's big. We work on turning the right pocket back. We have older students, we tell them, hey, turn your right pocket back as far as you can. Yes, but you never want to do that with the right leg straightening. The minute that leg looks like this, to me, you've lost all ground pressure, and most importantly, what happens is 98% of the time more, it ends up being in the heel too soon. And then all of a sudden, you know, arms and hands are the only thing lifting that second half of the swing. Like, you need to feel like when you do this, you're just pointing this down towards the ball. Not, dude, 100%. That was your best one of all of them right there.
So would this be standing too close to it, or is this good?
Do you feel like when you tilt more, you get a little too close to it?
Yeah.
You could back away a ½ inch from the ball. Yeah. Anybody who's doing this, you guys, like a lot of people, will be right here, and they get close to it because they're sitting back and they're away from it. And then all of a sudden, when you get into the right posture, it's like, whoa, the club feels like it should be out there.
Yeah.
Yes, it should. Backing the heels away to get over the golf balls. Much better. Good setup. Much better looking setup. A lot sharper.
Close a little bit.
Looks like your feet
Yeah.
are just a hair closed, but everything else is square. That comes back good, up the forearm, and see there's the, much better right there. Setup. Over the golf ball, chest looking down at the ball. Yep. Let's go 3/4 swing, right knee flexed, okay?
Okay.
Once again, right knee flex is letting the turn build and allowing you to be connected from the ground up. There we go, buddy. Up the hip, there we are. Do a really good job with the right knee here. Beautiful. Wow. That was good. Obviously, we can't be like this at the top of our swing. With the shoulder down here and the arms, you know. It's got to be more.
Yeah, that's really good.
It is, huh?
Yeah.
The way that this syncs up and the way that the golfer can feel like, and this is a big one for a lot of players, because I'm sure their coaches maybe told them, hey, restrict your hips. They maybe said, don't turn here and then turn. No, 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 no. I understand how that's said to players, but the way to do that, because of the proper setup, having the appropriate amount of tilt and lower body being in the correct position, as we talked about, hips over ankles, slightly flexed, and then keeping the right knee flexed. That's what allows the golfer to not have the hips. It's that gradual build up into the heel, not the immediate pull into the heel. Okay?
Yeah, and I've always kind of struggled with like thoracic rotation and being able to actually make a full turn. So I make up with a lot of it with my hands.
Yep.
And a lot of that is just when I used to struggle with this initial turn, I couldn't get the club back on the right plane, so I would open my hips.
Yep.
So they would come in and it would look correct, like with the hands, because
But
I
it
was all I
wasn't.
was focused on, as opposed to like realizing that this was already done, and then all I would do was go up with the hands.
But you know what though? That's what's great about the setup. You know, you watch from back behind. Pelvis is perpendicular to my spine, so I bump this forward. My spine kicks back, not because I'm going like this, but it kicks back naturally. And that allows for that ability to make that big turn and have no pain. The pain comes from the crunching, right?
Yeah.
So nice, buddy.
That feels way more natural, like through the ball.
Let's go.
Like I'm not trying to manipulate anything. You know the other interesting thing? I don't know if it's just being closer to the ground or whatever it is, but it almost feels like it's easier to see up my, like, down my left side, my peripheral vision.
Yep.
As opposed to like not really knowing where you're aimed.
It's pretty good, dude. Do you see how you got it tangled on the other side of it?
Yeah.
That was, believe it or not, like I had it like just on the top of your shoulder plane.
Really?
So that's just that little lift at the top of the swing right there. That's right here. Right from here, you just going this way versus just turning.
Okay.
Just a little bit. I mean, that's all it is. Just controlling the arm swing. Like I said, if you're
Your contact's a lot better. It's not
it is.
It's not heely.
It's really good. If you're, I will tell you this.